Every day on this channel, I go through everything that Elon said on X in the last 24 hours. And yesterday we got news that Samsung and Tesla are entering a partnership to make Tesla's AI6 chip. And we learned a lot about the partnership, but today we learned a little more. Phil Beazle says Samsung has no idea what they signed up for. And Elon responded saying they do. I had a video call with the chairman and senior leadership of Samsung to go over what a real partnership would be like. Use the strengths of both companies to achieve a great outcome. And he also responded to Omar, who said that Samsung is definitely the underdog when it comes to chip making. They are the current supplier for Tesla's AI3 and AI4 chips, but have struggled ramping up their smaller process nodes with acceptable yields while TSMC has excelled. Since AI4, Tesla has started using TSMC to fab their Dojo training chip. Originally, the rumor was that they would source AI5 from both TSMC and Samsung, but it looks like they decided to go exclusively with TSMC. TSMC will likely be able to deliver on AI5 no problem. With AI6 running on Samsung's new 2nm tech, it remains to be seen whether Samsung can deliver. Having Elon Musk walking the line in a bunny suit will hopefully help, but chip making is hard. There is a chance that if Samsung can't deliver, they go with TSMC for AI6 as well. But if they can make it work with Samsung, there will definitely be some major advantages. One is that Samsung has fabs located in Texas, 40 minutes from Giga Texas, while TSMC's most advanced process nodes are in Taiwan. Not only is the latter closer to where Tesla is making cars and robots, there's also significantly less risk of geopolitical disruption. Mexico invading Texas is less likely than China moving against Taiwan. And more than that, Samsung's chip-making business is in a more desperate state right now. This helps Tesla secure better terms, and if they can help Samsung catch up with 2nm tech and become more competitive with TSMC, that will probably be good for the industry as a whole. That competition will drive more options and better terms for Tesla in the future, assuming Samsung can pull it off. And Elon said, both TSMC and Samsung are great companies. It is an honor to work with them. And Megapack Factory Shanghai just had their 1000th Megapack roll off the production line, now headed to Europe. I assume that means that specific unit is being exported to Europe, and Elon says, robotic arm strength. Congratulations. And Chamath says he's had every car imaginable. Range Rover, Mercedes, Bentley, Ferrari, but his Model Y is the absolute best, no close competitor. And Elon reposted this. And he also reposted Zach's testimony of his Model Y. He says the new Model Y does everything so well. Best car on the road for the money, hands down. And Sawyer got Grok in his Model Y, and this XAI employee says, if you're excited about joining the incredible team behind shipping this model, please reach out directly or apply today to be part of something amazing. And Elon reposted this. And this XAI employee says that we are looking for researchers and engineers for scaling up our reinforcement learning environments with user feedback and preference in the loop. Apply here. Elon quotes this and says this false nomenclature of researcher and engineer, which is a thinly masked way of describing a two-tier engineering system, is being deleted from XAI today. There are only engineers. Researcher is a relic term from academia. And Ethan says AI is experimental science. Splitting researcher and engineer roles causes issues. For example, researchers invent, then find it's inefficient on current hardware. Top AI researchers are often great engineers too. Cyrus says code is one discipline, and Elon says at the end of the day, we are just programming computers, lol. And he also responded to Ethan directly saying engineers invent new technologies. Along the way, they may come up with new reality compression formulas like Nikola Tesla. And he says that SpaceX does more meaningful, cutting-edge research on the advancements of rockets and satellites than all the academic university labs on Earth combined. But we don't use the pretentious, low accountability term researcher, just engineer. And he reposted this for Mario, basically summarizing all of those points. Now, you'll soon be able to generate videos on Grok. Sawyer Merritt just got access to Grok's new video generation feature, and here's how it compares to Google's Veo 3. Sawyer used the same still image and asked both video generators to create a video from it, and you can see the difference. Elon responds to this saying, Grok Imagine, this is what it's called, is still early beta and is optimized for maximum fun. So it should be evaluated as fastest time to make a fun, shareable video rather than visual auditory perfection. Our heavy-duty model will train on the 110,000 GB200s coming online next month. And here's Elon's iconic childhood photo brought to life by Grok Imagine. Elon responds to this saying, we need to improve audio. I agree. And you can download the Grok app now to join the waitlist for Imagine. He says Imagine on Grok is super fun. Eva says it's strange why the post is not available for me. And Elon says, strange, I will investigate. And it seems he solved the problem because when I saw this earlier, the post wasn't available for me either, but now it is. And this XAI employee says to give Grok Imagine a try and let us know what you think. Mark asks, why is it only available on iOS? Elon says we need more Android developers. This is not the first time he has said that. Now, all this talk about what's an AI engineer, what's an AI researcher. Zuck just poached the 4th AI researcher from Apple. Omar says poaching an AI researcher from Apple is like poaching the head of propulsion from Nikola. Calisthenics Kyle responds to this saying Zuck needs all the help he can get because he really thought this was the future of tech. And Elon has a laugh at this one. And he agrees that the most plausible interpretation for the fact scientific papers 50 years ago used to be so lucid and elegant, but today are unreadable and irreproducible, is that the quality of scientists has dramatically declined because standards have declined and there are too many of them. And Jensen Huang says it's easier to fall in love with what you do than to find what you love. A lot of people say find something you love. I don't know about that. I guess I've fallen in love with many things that I do. I loved it when I was a dishwasher. I loved it when I was a busboy. I loved it when I was delivering papers. And I loved it when I was waiting tables. I've loved every single job that I've ever had, and I've loved every single day at NVIDIA that I've ever had. I just learned to love what I'm doing. It's hard to find something that you love, but it's easier to fall in love with what you are doing. And once you fall in love with what you are doing because you desperately want to do a good job at it, it's easier to do it well and work hard. So Elon reposted that, and he also reposted this. It was Jensen saying Elon has a great advantage because his AI factory for his cars is fantastic. He has a very large fleet of cars on the road, and he's been working on this for a long time. Tesla is working on autonomous vehicles, and I think he's working on exactly the right things. And Elon agrees that the real threat to humanity is not AI, it's that we stopped having babies. Earth needs more humans. And the 4th monkey has emerged. He sees no one, hears no one, and speaks to no one. And Elon reposted this. And SpaceX Starship has moved to the launch site at Starbase for pre-flight testing. Elon says this is version 2 Starship. V3 hopefully launches end of year. And here's a beautiful photo of a Starship launch from John Kraus. And Elon had reposted that from John along with this from Robin, a Falcon 1 appreciation post. Without it, the space world would look vastly different. And NASA's Crew 11's ride has arrived and is in place. Great work by the SpaceX team. They are moving quickly and steadily to launch on July 31st. And ketchup is not available, so what are you adding to these? Elon says salt and vinegar. Do with that information what you will. Now, Laura Loomer says that it's been entertaining watching congressional Democrats put on their show of fake outrage over Trump and the Epstein files, while the Democrats' top mega donor Reid Hoffman, who continued to rub elbows with Epstein after Epstein was accused of sex crimes, has pumped $600,000 into the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and Jeffrey's victory in 2025. Reid Hoffman traveled to Epstein Island. Remember when Elon said Reid Hoffman wanted to stop Trump from winning in 2024 because he wanted to stop Trump from releasing the Epstein list because he believes Hoffman is on the list. At the same time, the Democrats' largest donor this cycle remains Reid Hoffman. The DCCC has funneled $600,000 to Elias Law Group run by Mark Elias, who serves as the counsel to the pedophile-affiliated Lincoln Project. Elected Democrats are full of faux outrage, and Elon responds to this with a bullseye. And do you guys remember that story from yesterday about the black mob attacking this white couple? The Cincinnati police chief claims that the black mob that attacked the white tourists were misrepresented in the videos. Evidently, the mob was the true victim. Autism Capital responds to this saying, she didn't answer the question. And Elon says, either she answers the question or she should resign. And the Online Safety Act continues to be something that Elon comments on and seems concerned about. Basil the Great says, anyone else notice the Online Safety Act specifically mentions talking about illegal immigration? Big Brother is watching. If you don't know, the Online Safety Act is something that Britain is enforcing along their people, and they are heavily monitoring what citizens in the UK say on social media. And there's an update coming to XChat on iOS this week. It was definitely a big flop so far, so hopefully this helps things improve. Elon says progress. And 5 women who were exploited as children by Pakistani grooming gangs in Rotherham allege that police officers participated in the abuse. And Elon is shocked by this. And it's been a while since we had an update on the Boring Company. The Las Vegas Loop has now transported over 3 million passengers. And the Boring Company officially announces the Music City Loop. The Boring Company is coming to the state of Tennessee. Next stop, Nashville. And they are looking for engineers, operations coordinators, electricians, welders, and mechanics to grow their team. And Elon reposted those. And Rothman says, nobody, and then YouTube recommendations at 3 a.m. How many Hershey's chocolate bars does it take to stop a bullet? Elon responds to this saying, kinda compelling to be honest. And Rothman also posted the story about a woman forgiving her mother's killer and then visits him in prison, and upon release, she gives him a job working at the house where he killed her mother, and then he murders her in the same house. Elon responds saying, suicidal empathy. And Elon responds to this thread about how scientists just cracked the multiple sclerosis code after decades of searching. 2 specific gut bacteria are triggering the disease, and they've proven it using identical twins and mice. This changes everything we know about multiple sclerosis. The thread explores how these 2 gut bacteria are linked to multiple sclerosis, and this can help us understand the disease's triggers, but Grok says it does not equate to a cure. But Elon says it sounds promising. And did you know that there was a serious 1930s proposal to build a roller coaster across the top of Golden Gate Bridge? With a top speed of 190 miles per hour, the main concern and why it got cancelled was distracting the car drivers below. Elon responds with a fireball. And I'm sure you've heard about the Sydney Sweeney story developing. American Eagle hired her in an advertisement campaign, and it's sending people in the left into a frenzy.
Don't forget to boycott American Eagle for their racist shit online, talking about blue jeans and white people. Boycott American Eagle and cancel this person, Miss Sweeney. Cancel for her being racist, for doing Nazi propaganda.
Basically, the ads have Sydney Sweeney just saying that I have good jeans, and it's her wearing American Eagle jeans. Elon responds, 100, the woke mind virus in full view. Megyn Kelly says, I love how the leftist meltdown over the Sydney Sweeney ad has only resulted in a beautiful white blonde girl with blue eyes getting 1000x the exposure for her good genes. And Elon has a laugh at that one. Morgan asks, why do liberal white women hate white people so much? And Elon says they've been programmed to do so by their teachers and the media. And Modern History asks, Anna de Armas or Sydney Sweeney, which one is your favorite? Jay Smith responds with a throwback, and Elon has a laugh at this one. And Based Bandita says, another ad just dropped of Sydney Sweeney. Liberals are not having a good week. Gadsod quotes this sarcastically, saying, these images are truly the Fourth Reich. And Elon has a laugh at this one. And the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor said in support of the president's executive orders, the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor just returned from a trip to South Africa to learn more about rural farm attacks and the breakdown of rule of law. Here's what we found. South Africa holds enormous economic and geopolitical promise. However, current breakdowns in law and order are not conducive to growth or collaboration with the United States. The South African government must speak clearly and act decisively to address crime and condemn the violence. Violent crime is rampant in South Africa, but rural attacks, especially on farms, display a distinctly brutal pattern. Local sources reported 296 farm attacks and 49 murders in 2023, and that victims are disproportionately elderly, isolated, and face delayed police response. The South African Police Service reports the number increased to 55 farm murders in 2024. Here's the number of farm attacks and murders from 2022 to 2023. These are not ordinary crimes. In some documented cases, reports detail victims tortured or killed without anything being stolen. Earlier this year, a man was beaten and hacked with a machete. In another incident, an elderly woman was assaulted and repeatedly stabbed. In both cases, no theft occurred. These attacks are not motivated by poverty alone. In a notable 2023 incident, assailants chanted, "Kill the boar, kill the farmer," as they stabbed their victim. But these aren't fringe slogans. Some South African leaders chant the same words to cheering crowds. In one case, graffiti praising these leaders was painted on a farmhouse before its owners were brutally attacked. Despite this, as the president highlighted earlier this year, many South African leaders have failed to condemn this song. The international community and mainstream media have decided to remain silent on this issue. Rejecting this moral failure, the United States condemns these brutal attacks and stands with all South Africans working to build a peaceful and more prosperous country. And Elon reposted this. And Mr. Yudkowsky says, with each new doctor, at some single point I try asking them, how many patients out of 1,000 does X happen to? I can never get over the blank look that appears in their eyes. Then, like they don't know the number, nobody's ever asked before, and they've no idea why anyone would. Elon responds, X? So, that's everything that Elon said today. We learned a little bit more about the Samsung partnership, a little bit more about Starship version 3 coming at the end of the year. We learned about Grok Imagine, their video generation platform. XAI hates the term researcher. And Sydney Sweeney is making a lot of people extremely upset. And if you want early access to these daily videos, you can gain access by joining the channel as a member. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.